Guys, do you want a bit more of a bang for your buck? Do you want to be a bit extra to see what's going on? Patreon.com/Sly Guy podcast. Link in the description wherever you get your podcasts. We are brought to you proudly in association with Visual Antics. Visual Antics make the best merch in the game. And by that I mean podcast merch for this particular podcast. And if you want to get yourself decked out in the slyest gear available, looking sleek, sexy and sly, head to visualanticsapparel.com/Sly Guy and you'll find all you need. Or you just skip via the link in the description of the podcast and you want to go to your checkout and get a wee bit of a discount, you can get 10% off the discount Sly Guy 10 at checkout. That's Sly Guy 10 at checkout for 10% off your Visual Antics purchases of Sly Guy apparel. Whoa. Modest Beer is numero uno. modestbeer.co.uk. Sign up to the Brewsletter, support what they do, and tell them Davey sent you, and enjoy your life. 15% off with the discount code SlyPA15 at checkout. SlyPA15 at checkout. modestbeer.co.uk. Oh, Daddy.
I'm the Sly Guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Sly Guy podcast. Again, thanks to everybody who has signed up to the Patreon over the last while. I hope you guys enjoy the vlog of my little trip to Prague. Hope you thought that was a lot of fun. If you're going to Prague, you got some tips. If you just wanted to know what I was getting up to when I was in Prague, hey, it's all over there. You can subscribe if you want right now for as little as £2 a month. Via the link in the description. You can do that. Support the podcast. Help us do more. It'll be a lot of fun. I appreciate it. And if you don't want to subscribe to the Patreon, if you're like, oh, I don't want to do that, I hate this guy, and you just want to see me on this level only, you can subscribe wherever you get the podcast here, whether that be YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, I guess. Wherever you get your podcast, hit the subscribe. It really helps us, and it helps me, and it helps getting guests, and it helps all the other stuff as well. So I appreciate all the new subscribers, all the new eyes, all the new ears, all the new patrons. Thank you. Now, on to this week's episode. First and foremost, one of my favourite people, one of my best friends in comedy, one of the guys who I look up to, I appreciate, I respect, both as a comedian and as a guy. He's a person who comes on the podcast through fair trade, I guess, and good spirit and honest capacity. I don't know exactly the phrase he uses. I'm sure he'll say it in the podcast. It's none other than comedian and radio star and budding pilot Andrew Ryan. What a guy. What a fun episode this was. Now, I do need to put a little disclaimer off the top. It started a little bit slow. All right, the episode started with a wee bit of seriousness. It started with a wee bit of political chat by two guys who, let's be fair, don't really know a lot about what we're talking about. So, before anybody goes, this, I don't agree with this, I don't, shut up, I don't care. It was silliness. We got there in the end. We got past it. And if anybody knows any people below an average height, let us know. Enjoy this week's episode of the podcast with me and my guest, the amazing, brilliant, talented, funny, and full of integrity, the one and only Andrew Ryan. And we're off. Andrew Ryan, welcome to the Sly Guy podcast. On this, it's a wonderful week. It's a great week of history in the world. It's a great week.
Sad week.
It's a sad week. Sad week? What makes you sad?
Well, you remember people that have passed,
Yeah, that's true.
that unfairly passed through evilness.
But also we remember that happened within a life, like within a couple of lifetimes. That happened. And there's still cruelty in the world, and there's still things happening out there.
And there's also still cruelty still to come because, people are evil. And it's very hard to...
Whoa.
People are evil. Well, sure, all these things in the world that happen bad, all done by people.
Wow.
You know, like I remember back in like the mid-2000s, the banks have ruined the economy. Who runs a bank?
A person.
Person.
So you would be...
Who makes the policies of a bank?
People.
A person.
So do you think you're a big supporter of AI and the future and technology taking over? Would you like to see a Terminator around the world?
No, I just think there are people out there who thrive off the pain and suffering of other people, and unfortunately these people get great power,
Protestants,
and they feel that they don't get stopped because other people subconsciously support all that as well.
Yeah.
And I think the world is full of amazing people and full of absolutely horrible human beings that makes you ashamed sometimes. Anyway, it's great to be here.
Yeah,
on
it's
the
good to
Sly
be
Guy
here.
podcast.
Welcome back to the Sly Guy podcast. On what Andrew was alluding to, the week, it's 80 years to the week that Auschwitz was liberated.
Yeah.
Auschwitz-Birkenau
I went there 2 years
concentration
ago.
camp. What did you think of it? Good time?
No.
No? Okay, good.
Do you know what? A lot of people go to these things because I watched a lot of documentaries on it. I did quite a lot of study on World War One and World War Two and the fall of Germany and communism and East and West Germany and the fall of the wall and stuff, and did all that kind of stuff. I'm currently studying the Balkans now at the moment, reading a lot about
Slobodan Milosevic and co.
Yugoslavia, Bosnia, Serbia, the war back then in the 80s and the 90s. Anyway, my point is this. I got a lot out of it in terms of showing the depths of depravity that people would go to for power and control, and how other people dislike other people of different backgrounds. Like, hating someone's identity because they are not the same as you is it's so evil. Like, and all these people that died, these millions of people that died at the hands of the Nazis for being Jewish or whatever, or disabled and all this kind of stuff. You know, it showed you like that the European Union was set up so that this stuff would never ever happen again. European cooperation with European countries and stuff. And, you know, Donald Trump is not Adolf Hitler.
No.
But Donald Trump speaks, and people around him are saying stuff that resemble certain things that have been
Would you
said
say there
before.
are parallels between?
Yeah, but they're only words. Do you see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
There's a difference. So people say, like, oh, Donald Trump is new Adolf Hitler. Well, no, he's not. I don't like Donald Trump. I would never vote for the man in my life. I hate him. My point is this, is that Adolf Hitler and his people went actively out and did all that. Donald Trump was just, the fella can't string three sentences together. Like, So
you're saying Hitler's a better public speaker? He's got more of an energy about him than Trump? He's a better, like, orator, would you say?
I'm not commenting on that,
No.
Dave.
No.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, when I went to Auschwitz, it was fascinating.
Because I'm going at the end of February.
It's
To have
really
a-
interesting. It's
yeah.
it's a tough day. It's a long day.
Yeah.
You learn a lot, and you kind of went home that night, and you kind of think to yourself, wow. Like, you just can't believe.
But it seems
certain things
baffling. Like,
happened,
the
like-
thing like you say, I think I've had a lot of research into it, been watching a lot of things to see how that happened. And to me, it baffles me that there was at any point the stage where people are like, it's a good idea, smart move. You know what I mean? And I think what I especially found quite uncomfortable was I was watching a documentary about the Nazis, and there were some of the Nazi leaders went to Auschwitz. There was one in particular, I think it was Himmler, had gone and he had watched the family get shot dead by firing squad, and he was appalled by it, and not appalled by what they were doing, but appalled that it might have an effect on the mentality of the soldiers. So we're like, no, we can't be shooting them. Let's find a better way so we don't have to be upset at watching this. Not so we shouldn't be doing this. This is absolutely abhorrent. It was, I don't want to be upset by this. Gross.
It's unbelievable.
It's wild. And I'm a wee bit, I'm not looking forward to it. Like, I'm not, but you know, you go to see things, you're like, you look forward to seeing historic things.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be a hard day.
It is a hard day, and I think one thing, obviously, with all the people that have died, and they explain all that to you, but to me, that's obviously incredibly bad. But it's also the fact that these people lived in fear, while even the people that, when they were alive in the camp and they were going through the camp and all this kind of stuff, it's the constant fear.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, it's very hard to say anything about it other than, like, you know, it's despicable and evil and vile, but you know, it does make you think that, you know, we can live a decent life now, partly because the way these countries have came together to cooperate, that we don't have any more wars. Now, I know look, I didn't grow up in Northern Ireland, you did, and I know that there was a war here for 30 years, but the reason why we can live in the north now, and there's lots of different communities living in the north now, is because of, you know, men and women who made brave decisions to, step away from what they believed 100% and decided to talk to people that they didn't get on with and come to a compromise to say, listen, this has to stop. We're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Let's all work together and give ourselves all a better life here. And I think, there's a lot of really strong people that have made good decisions for this stuff never to happen again. And obviously all the people, do you know what I mean? And I think
I get you, but I also think let this week be a reminder that stuff like this that seems so far-fetched and so like out of the movie almost happened. This was real life. This happened.
Yes, and some would say,
ago.
yes, and also what's happening in Israel and Palestine, in Palestine at the moment, resembles a very, very ethnic cleansing.
There's absolute inhumanity going on there.
It's disgusting.
It's horrendous.
Like I saw a thing in America at Davos or something like that. It was Davos, which is in Switzerland, isn't it? Some guy on TikTok said to a politician, which is more important, a Ukrainian life or a Palestinian life? And it's like they're both equally important, you know what I mean? And it's just, but none of the politicians weren't answering it. Like.
But I also think what worries me is the generational issue that there's going to be there now. There's going to be trauma. There's going to be hatred. It's going to take a long time for people to forgive. And I think it's not going to just.
They may never forgive. But
there's not just going to be a ceasefire, and they're like, that's dead on. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of healing, a lot of even though what's happened here. It's going to take a lot of.
Will take generation after generation after generation.
And I think that's the worry, and obviously with what's going on in Palestine, it's completely. To any rational thinking person, whatever your side or belief may be, the actions that have gone on there are not justified at all. I think no matter what.
Yeah. But also, everybody, people can say, why did Palestine go and do that thing in October? And it's like, anybody that dies from violence, please just, I don't know what the solution is.
Do you know, I just hate how we all are assumed we have to pick sides.
Yeah.
There's grey in everything, isn't there?
Yeah,
There's grey
look, I'm Irish, I have a lot of empathy and support the Palestinian people and the Palestinian cause. I have no problem in saying that. I know, but I you get to the point where it's kind of like, just fucking stop.
Yeah.
Just everyone stop.
And do you think people listening to this podcast now are going, fucking stop talking about this serious shit?
Yeah.
Guys, listen, look out for each other. Be good people.
Come on, be nicer.
This is a comedy podcast. Andrew, what's up? How are you?
Good, yeah. That was a bit heavy.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
wow, it is. No, this happened once before. I did a podcast with Shane, and for some reason this topic came up, and Jesus, it ended up, we were like, we can't put that out. It's just too miserable. We're supposed to be fun, lighthearted guys having a goose of a time.
But isn't it brilliant that we can be fun, lighthearted?
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? That we can feel safe in our daily lives.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm not. But you see my point.
Yeah, I get
People don't realise how lucky we are to live in this part of the world. Even though there's lots of challenges on this island, but we are very lucky.
Yeah. But my kid said to me, she goes, Dad, is this one of the best places in the world to live? And I went, what do you mean? She goes, well, like I can just go to school and stuff, and there's no volcanoes or earthquakes.
There's no guns, no school shootings.
Well, there are guns, but they're just buried in a field around the border.
But I'm saying there's no school shootings.
True. There was actually, believe it or not, you might know this, my school that I went to a few years before I started, when I was in primary school, a dude came in with a flamethrower during an exam and burnt people in the assembly hall when they were doing exams with a flamethrower. It's pretty scary. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, bad boys everywhere. Bad boys, I don't want to say for life, but it's in me to say that. But there's bad boys everywhere.
Bad boys everywhere, mate.
Bad boys everywhere. And see, if you're a bad boy, be a bad boy in like the good old... Because you know what the problem is? You can't even be a bad boy anymore. Because remember, he used to be like... who used to be the number one bad boy? And like, he's a bad boy. And the women loved him, was P. Diddy. And look how that turned out. So don't be a bad boy.
700 dildos in a house.
How many holes? Like, how many holes?
How many holes do you need?
Yeah. Like, it's excessive number of dildos.
How many holes do you need?
And there's someone out there that has to make an inventory of that. So they're like... No, they're like, do they classify?
But you know the people
dildos?
who was delivering it to his house, the DHL or the FedEx guys, they're like, P. Diddy, mate, another one?
But then is it just Amazon? Well, that's actually DJ Khaled you're doing there.
Another one?
But then it's the baby oil. Like, is he having someone arriving with a forklift truck of baby oil? Like, baby oil, I don't think baby oil is not designed to lube up your orifices to put dildos in. So I don't know what's going on. Would you have liked to go on to a P Diddy party before it all kicked off? Would you like just to see what was going on?
No.
So have you
I
ever
was
had...
in Dubai with Shane and Willie Thompson, and
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes.
they all went to see Eminem, and they were like, "You coming to Eminem?" And I was like, "No, I'm not into that scene, man." But if you ask me, would I go to a Damien Dempsey concert? Would I go to a Daniel Keenan concert? Would I go to Christy Moore? Would I go to some folk? Oh yeah, 100%. Will I go and watch P Diddy and Eminem talking about rap and all that? No, not for me. 50 Cent, not for me.
Would you rather watch a P Diddy concert, or would you rather watch P Diddy explain what he does with 700 dildos? And
I'd like to watch what he explains what he does with 700 dildos, because I think there's comedy value there. Like.
Would you like there to be some sort of spotlight interview, like the Prince Andrew interview?
Yeah,
Would you like there to be something like that?
Well, after one dildo, it just escalated, and
and like before you even notice, I was up to 400.
Yeah. So his trial is what, in a year? Is he banged up for a while now?
He's banged up for a bit. So,
they're coming after everyone, man, and rightly so.
Do you think there's a lot of, like, the whole, obviously, you strike me as the kind of guy that's not into conspiracies. I don't think you.
And people who are in conspiracy lay off the weed.
Yeah, I would.
The earth is round.
There's definitely a correlation between conspiracy theorists and use of cannabis.
Oh,
like
every conspiracy theorist I know smokes a joint every day.
At least one or more.
At least one.
Yeah,
they are off their heads.
And what are their favourite go-to conspiracies?
My one was, somebody says 9/11 was an inside job. Fair enough, but nobody in the last 30 years has leaked any information to say that it was an inside job, or how, or what, or which. But
then your man Trumpy might just release it. He's releasing it all.
There's nothing to hide.
But he's not releasing the Epstein tapes, is he?
No, but they're releasing the JFK ones. And guess what's going to happen? Now we're going to find out the real truth. Oh, he was just assassinated by some lunatic. Okay. But then they'll go. They can make conspiracy out of anything.
Yeah.
People can make a conspiracy out of anything.
But do you think there's a lot of elites, and they're worrying themselves about,
of course,
the tapes and what Diddy knows too?
Of course,
that was another new conspiracy that P Diddy was responsible for the fires in LA. Apparently, there's evidence he needed destroyed, and he got his people to start the fires.
Don't you think the evidence has been lifted already in the last few months?
I really sure.
You see, this is crazy. Like somebody, that's might as well say like, oh, there's no way the Titanic sunk by the iceberg. There's no way the ice structure. Like, shut up.
No,
I think people are just off their fucking heads. Man.
Yeah, I mean,
but they never have any actual real evidence.
But see, it's like those things. It's like any case where there's not hard evidence. It's like whether you believe in God or an afterlife. Nobody knows because no one can tell you either way.
Yeah.
No
one's been and come back.
There's no definitive proof. Now, there are certain things you look at and go, it's a wee bit different. Like the whole Epstein thing, you're like, oh, just so happened that at that particular time there's no guard, there's no security footage.
I imagine there is some elites of the world, like the Epsteins and the Prince Andrews and many more, I don't know who, that have been involved in some serious dodgy shit. And it seems that we're getting closer every year to stuff being exposed all the time, and people are speaking out, and if there's evidence there and people are being held accountable, then all well and good. Like, look at Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein, based on the evidence that I saw and some of the clips I saw, was an insatiable sexual fucking scumbag that harassed and preyed on women and would sadistic, seedy, weird, and he's now in prison for the rest of his life based on that, and rightly so. And well done to the people for speaking out, and I hope that they can go off and live their life better, and that inspires other women to come out and speak out against evil people and evil men and women who are doing that. So over time, these things do come out.
Do you think there should be like a team that goes against them? So like you should tie it all together. So they should try to put some of the 700 dildos that Diddy had into Harvey Weinstein just as a punishment without the baby oil. Think she'd be like, you're a dirty bastard, there's 400 dildos into your arse, Harvey, have that. See how you like it.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein's a new Bonnie Blue.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's got about apparently. Would that be something you'd have been interested in back in your single days? No?
Imagine being number 968.
Yeah, you know what I don't think? I don't think that room's going to be a good environment. I don't think you're standing in the room going, this is good for mankind. I don't think. Well, I would struggle to get an erection, I think.
Yeah. We all struggle at the best of times.
Yeah, I think I would need a couple of Bonnie Blues to get my going.
Yeah. See, the way Judy said it to me about her, and I said, well, first of all, it's none of my business how someone lives their life.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't care what you do in your life. It's none of my business. Once you're law-abiding, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But just with her, so good luck to her. That's what she wants. She's doing it out of her own free will. It's none of my business, and I shouldn't really tell anybody. I would never tell anybody what to do. But I also question the men that queued up for that.
Yeah, I think a lot of those guys need to look at themselves.
You know. Apparently, didn't some guy's mum turn up in the queue and pull her son out of the queue?
I'm glad you said pull out, not pull any off.
Yeah, I
pull
heard
them
that.
off.
But I don't know. I just think.
How did the mum find out? That's what I
dunno,
want to know. How mortified would you be?
If your son was in the queue for
Oh man, I don't think I would. My mummy would be so cross with me.
that. Can you imagine if you had a boyfriend and that day in London, your boyfriend said, I have to pop out there for a few hours.
Yeah.
And he went and did that.
Mm.
Where was your boyfriend?
I know it's probably out of those 1,000 guys. I'm sure there's a few, because there was a story she said she found it hot, which I don't believe. I don't believe if you're just doing that, you find anything arousing. But that she could feel the wedding rings on her body when people were like grabbing her. She could feel there was a wedding ring, and that turned her on a bit more. That's gross.
Oh.
You know. And then what do you do when you're finished? Is she just lying there like? And they come in like or is there some sort of? Does she have to move? Like, is she still getting her steps in? You know, does it count?
I don't know. I wasn't there, Dave. But if she does it again, I'll probably go just to have a look. I'm not.
Can you imagine
I'm
you get to the front of the line? I'm just here for a nosy, and then she's like, "Fuck, we need another one at the end."
Oh
Yeah.
God.
No, I
Not for
imagine
me.
it. Yeah, I mean, it's not, and I'm glad that's not for you, because I would actually think a bit less of you if you got involved in that. You know?
Oh.
Do you know?
Oh God.
Would there be anything like that you would do? Anything?
I
Not
wouldn't go-
sexually, but any Guinness record, any record you think you could achieve and beat,
I could achieve and beat.
or you would want to set
I think I could finish XL.
complete XL.
Yeah.
Is there a way to do that?
I don't know. I don't think you can finish XL. I'll try and find a way to.
Because there is a guy that I saw recently. He has in the Guinness Book of Records for the longest continuous championship manager game.
Right.
I think he's played it for like 57 days or something consecutively when you put it together.
Without sleep.
No, like he's played it over time. Like it's still the same game. Has run for what would be days consecutively. But he has obviously shut it down, saved it, and gone back to it. But it's the longest continuous game. So do you think that's something you could look in? I would love to see you get a Guinness World Record. I think that's something you could do. You could get yourself a Guinness World Record. You could get Q behind it, and you could try to...
Doing what, though?
You could do, I don't know. Like Harvey Price, speaking of Harvey's, Jordan's son has a Guinness World Record for the longest drawing of a train. So...
I don't
You
really
do
know
something.
what I would be good at to do.
I would like to do something. See if you see someone do that and then beat it. That'd be fun. Imagine Harvey does the world's longest drawing of a train. You go and do one longer the next day. Like, suck on that, Harv.
And then just to piss him off. Like,
Yeah, just to, if you can rage him.
he's mentally challenged, isn't he? or
I don't
something?
think
Or
he's
what is-
he's got a few conditions. God love him.
He seems like, I've seen a few clips, seems like a fun lad, though. Like, he
Yeah.
seems like he's just, you know what I mean?
He's a good guy. I
You
like
know.
him. I'm a fan of his work. You know what? People actually, I bought a t-shirt, one of his t-shirts once.
Right.
He's a brand, and it supports like the mental health charities.
Oh, that's
and
really good.
Special needs, yeah. Now, to be fair, wasn't the best fit in the world, but I mean, I can't blame him for that. I don't think he's stitching the gear, like, but I did support him. Stay
What would
anxious.
your world record be?
I want to listen to the song "Breakfast at Tiffany's" the most consecutive times ever. If that could be a Guinness World Record, I want to do that.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like that's something I could do. I feel like it's something I could win. I also think that
That's so
there's,
strange.
but then there's other ones that you see and you go, surely that could be beaten. Like it's like 4 biscuits or something. I think like 4 crackers is the most you can eat in a minute. Something stupid. You're like, I can eat more. 4 crackers with dry mouth? Apparently not. So, if anyone's like, if you're listening to this and you know a record you think Andrew and I could beat, write in the comments. Let us know what you think we could beat, and then we'll try and go for
Do you
some
know what I'd
Guinness
love to
World
do?
records.
I love to play golf for a continuous amount of time without sleep.
I mean, I'm sure there's a record out there.
You could play in the middle of the night.
You want me to see how long the most?
Consecutive.
So
golf
what are we
run.
looking? The
So
longest
basically, say
consecutive
you tee off
round
at
of-
9 a.m.
Okay,
You can just play golf for 72 hours without
let's
sleep
see.
or break.
The longest
Round of golf ever.
round of score, longest Guinness longest round of golf ever. What do you reckon it is?
I don't know, 48 hours?
I reckon it'll be more than that. You know, I reckon you're probably Guinness World Record. And who do you reckon has it? Do you reckon it's a pro golfer or just a dude?
No, it's just some normal person. You don't have to be pro.
Oh, wow. The Guinness World Records does not specifically list a record for the longest round of golf in terms of duration, so you could set one here. However, there are notable records related to golf course. The world's longest golf course, Australia. No, you could do that. Most rounds of golf played in different countries in 24 hours. You could do that. Casper de Wolf and Alexander Hukitit from Belgium set a record by playing 8 full 18-hole rounds in 8 different countries within 24 hours. So, there you go. Played across Europe. Could you beat that, do you reckon?
Yeah, I think I could do 30 hours. Just basically tee off the first hole and just keep going around for
30 hours?
30 hours.
What is the sort of average for a round of 18 holes? 4?
3.5 hours, depending on if it's you and a mate, you probably do it in 3.5 hours.
But see, if it was you could do more than 8 courses, I'm sure, in 24 hours, couldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
8 countries, but then you have to travel, do you? I'd imagine you need to be like around Switzerland or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you need to be able to nip in and nip out of countries.
Yeah. Is it Switzerland that has that, or is it Belgium where you know there's one point where you can walk like a meter and you're in like 5 different countries? Need to be something like that.
Yeah, I'd say probably your best bet would be location-wise. You'd have to probably be in Austria or something.
Yeah.
And you have to just get the first golf course over each border.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to map it out and plan it like.
So that was one you think you could do for?
I could do, yeah. Pick a course in Belfast and just play for 30 hours, and every 18 holes someone else joins you. And people come out and bring your dinner. You can raise loads of money for charity. Just play the same course.
That's something we could look to do. What about that? Let's do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure, again, you could get the Q crew. That's a real tongue twister. The Q crew involved, and they could probably get something going. Do that for charity, the longest round of golf. Now, would there be a course you would like to play? Like, could you be like, listen, can I do this? Like Royal Belfast or somewhere? You'd like a nice course that would be handy? Or would you like just
but the problem is playing at night time in the dark and the lights and stuff.
Oh no, there's floodlit golf courses kicking about the country.
Only
anywhere.
in Dubai.
So you'd have to go to Dubai and do that. Then it'd be tiring. You'd need to be hydrated. I would come along in the wee trolley and be your hype
No,
man.
but I would do it. Like, I mean, that's a good idea. You know, I might actually say to Q, like, if there's no world record, just do 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then they'd say, right, that's the world record, 24. And then someone else will beat it, obviously, very easily.
Yeah. And then you come back for it. You could be a record breaker, Andrew Ryan.
Okay, well, I was Guinness World Record holder.
Yeah.
For what? Just playing golf, playing shit golf.
Yeah, it's forever the longest.
Yeah.
And then you have the worst recorded professional score at golf, or does it all go to ding after a point? Do you know if you like the most over par ever recorded? Could you do that as well? But then you don't want that because then you're shit, isn't it?
Yeah, wouldn't really overly worry about that.
Is there any like records within the house you think you could set? Any like stuff you could do at a table or?
Number of arguments with your wife in a day.
But I don't think you don't strike me as someone that would really argue.
I don't know. I hate arguing.
Yeah.
Like, and also I also believe if you raise your voice, you lose the argument. Mm-hmm. Don't raise your voice. The only thing me and Julie we bicker. Oh, can you do that? Oh yeah, I've done it. Oh, I thought you said you were picking that up. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, okay. You know, it's just stuff like that. But we would never like argue like, you know, the kind of way.
I get you, like proper fight.
Yeah, like about behaviour or comments or like, so I went out recently for a night to like a work event, and I said, look, don't pick me up. I said I'll be home maybe 11:30. We'll see how it goes. And she was like, yeah, do whatever you want. So she dropped me in at like 7, and I was in there anyway. And
were you on the pints this particular event?
Yeah, and I got home at like 12:10. Wasn't drunk or anything. I only had like 4 drinks or something, and Diet Coke, and you know, it's just a standard night. And I know guys that would come home at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Oh yeah, we all know those
and
sorts.
Like, then when the wife or the girlfriend's like, oh, you're going to be hungover all day tomorrow now, and we were supposed to do this and thought we were doing that and all that, and then they're like, what the fuck are you having to go with me for? And it's like, you see, that's not your partner having a go at you. That's your partner frustrated because you told them one thing and you've gone against what you've told them.
Yeah.
I will be home at 11:30, 12.
But there's also respect as a two-way street,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know, I think
You can't be like, I'll be home at 12 and then come home at 5 in the morning.
nah.
That's not fair, because how would you feel if your girlfriend or husband or whatever went out and came home at 5 in the morning? But that knock-on effect you know, they're going to be fucked all day on a Sunday now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was trying to teach my niece and nephew a couple of years ago about consequence of action, right?
Did they want this, or was this
No,
just
I just teach them. I like teaching them stuff, consequence of action. So imagine this situation. So I'm going to give you a true story.
Okay.
Right? And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions after I tell you
Okay.
the story, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend, in their early 30s, living together in a nice rented house. Boyfriend has a good job. Girlfriend has a good job. They both have cars. Good, middle-class, normal lifestyle. The boyfriend has a 40-minute drive to work every morning. Girlfriend has 20-minute drive to work every morning. Boyfriend goes out one night to the pub, hanging out with his mates, has a few drinks, jumps into the car, gets stopped by the police, pulled over for drinking and driving, arrested, spends the night in the jail cell. No previous convictions, never done anything like this before.
Okay.
Following morning, goes home to his girlfriend, explains what happened. Girlfriend goes mental, drinking and driving. So, he gets his license suspended for whatever, 18 months, whatever the punishment was, right? Now, therefore, he cannot drive to work anymore. So he now has to get a bus. But the bus is 2 buses because of the way the journey is.
Yeah.
So his now 40-minute commute is now 1 hour, 20 minutes, right? So instead of getting out of bed at 7:45 and leaving at 8, he now has to get out of bed at 7:45. Okay? And has to get 2 buses to work. But he now is getting home later. Instead of getting home at 6:15 when he finishes at 5 or 5:40, he's now not getting home till 6:30, 20 to 7. So over time, this now starts to cause a stress in the relationship because the dynamic of the house has changed and the routine of the house has changed. His girlfriend is doing all more driving now, has to drop him down to football, has to pick him up from football because she's under pressure driving all the time. Over a period of 4 or 5 months, puts an incredible strain on the relationship to the point where the girlfriend breaks up with him. He then moves back in with his mother and father. Because he's moved back in with his mother and father, his commute to work is now over 2 hours. This is causing him untold stress because of the tiredness and all that. And it affects his performance at work and therefore gets disciplined at work. And his mum and dad are frustrated with him living in the house because he's old enough to live on his own. And his mum and dad are falling out with him all the time. To the point where his mum says, like, you know, you're going to have to move out and get your own flat. That guy then comes out and says that his mum and dad are bastards to him, treating him like shit. And don't listen, don't love him anymore, blah, 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 blah. And I posed the question to you, is his mum and dad bastards?
No.
Why has all this happened?
It is the domino effect of a bad decision.
There you go. Consequence of action.
And I think having been in a situation, not similar, but to an extent, where I've been living with my mum and dad for a period of time, I could see why they were stressed with having us in the house. Because they have their own routines, they have their things they do, and you are imposing, whether it's through consequence of your action or other things. You still have to, if you're in someone's house, you have to bend the knee and adhere to their rules. You know.
So that decision that guy made in the pub, to drink and drive,
driving,
scumbag stuff. But that decision that guy made completely changed his life because it's a consequence of his freedoms being taken off him because of the bad decision that he made and the pressure then he put on other people. So his girlfriend had to drive him to work all the time, or drive him sometimes to work, or drive him down to 5-a-side football. She had to go and, you know.
Then even at that, I would go, well, you can't go to 5-a-side football anymore because I'm not taking you. I have stuff I need to do, and you're impinging on that because of your decision.
But what happens is then when one person does something like that, I really think it affects the relationship and the trust barrier. And like when you're trying to say to people like about consequences, it's like, you know, a lot of people don't seem to take responsibility for their own actions.
No,
like, you know what I mean?
agree. Yeah.
And like they don't see the effect that their behaviour has on other people down the line.
But that's like anything too, isn't it? If there's an argument, if there's never a right or wrong. There's always an in-between, and both sides always need to make cessations to the other to try to, and sometimes that means put your hands up and go, I made an error there. However, let's resolve it. And I think that's a lot of problems and a lot of conflicts. People don't want to admit they've ever done anything wrong, and they think their actions are completely justifiable and there's a reason behind it, when sometimes you go, That's too far. Like that's like sometimes in an argument with Catherine, there'll be things when I'll go, it is her fault. However, maybe how I reacted to this or how I did it is a problem. And there are other times where I go, that's my fault, and I need to then make amends to that. But then at the same time, in an argument, if I do something wrong, like if I say, for example, dropped a roast chicken out of the oven as it came out, it's cooked on Sunday dinner, I drop it, it's on the floor, it's ruined, it's down there. I know, like that in that moment, I know what the knock-on effect of what I've done. So I don't need
To be told that.
to be told, oh, you did that. I'm like, yeah, I know, I fucked it, I'm sorry. But that's what another thing I think happens in relationships a lot. The other person having to tell you stuff you already know, and you're like, but I know, and you shouting at me about this isn't making it any better. So how do you resolve it? So that's where we're at.
I think
I
that's
like that
just
with
being
my
married
kids.
though,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and that's what you've got to look forward to. And that'll be.
Yeah, we don't really argue, like, you know what I mean? Like, we really don't. We're
Here's
both-
one. What would you do if that dynamic do you see there being any change of dynamic in your relationship and you getting married? Because I noticed when I got married, there was none of that. It was exactly the same. Except if I die, she gets all my shit. That was it.
I think it would be the exact same.
And will you you do anything different? Like, will you?
No, I think I'm excited to do it, but I'm also very. I like our family. Like, we have a cat now, and I like that there's three of us.
Finbar,
Finbar the cat, Finbar Ryan, and
the first.
Finbar Ryan the first, Finbar Ryan the first, and Duke of Cork.
Duke of Cork.
Yeah. And he's. I like that we have that. So it's all good. It's just a matter of, like, I would have had a fair commitment for many years. Like, you know, I'm 10 years older than my partner. Like,
Yeah.
9 years older than my
But
partner.
you know what, though, too? I think, obviously knowing you quite well, I think that it's not necessarily a you thing. It's just a compatibility thing. And I think, and I'd be very much the same, that I would have thought, well, I don't know if I want to settle down. When you meet the person that is right for that, you know, and you're like, actually, that's it. This is the person. This is my person. This
I
is
knew
us.
very early on.
Yeah. And I was the same with.
Because she totally got it. Like, she totally
Yeah.
got me. Like,
And another thing too, I think what I like about you two as well, you can both be occupied doing your own thing.
yeah,
I think that's
Julie's
important.
insanely busy.
Mhm.
So, like, we have to schedule in hanging out together. Like,
Yeah.
and like the other day we were out together, and I said to her, like, oh, can we spend some time? I said to her, like, can we spend some time together today? She was like, yes. We went over to Forest Side.
I mean, that's how you do it.
No, but like, it was pissing rain. There wasn't much open. You know, we thought, look, let's just go and hang out for an hour. And we're doing up the sitting room, so we were looking at some furniture and stuff like that. Like, and we had a right good laugh. And we were going up the escalator, and I pushed her off the escalator, and wouldn't let her go up the escalator and stuff for, like, winding her
They
up
didn't
and stuff.
push her from a height. This
No,
was
as we
the
were
best thing
walking
we
up,
used, yeah.
like, I just elbowed her out of the way and wouldn't let her up the escalator, like, you know.
Yeah. Bit of flirting.
Bit of flirting, like,
Oh,
you know,
well.
like, just having a crack, like.
And it's wee things like that. I think that's the key
Yeah.
of any, is enjoying the moments that aren't big moments.
Like, I drive her fucking insane.
Mhm. I could see that.
Like, she says to me some days, I need a break from you. And I would follow her around the house. I
Yeah.
follow her around the house, just sticking my finger up at her, and we'd be laughing over
Yeah.
it. Like, but there's times that I need a break from her.
Have you ever given her the finger and really meant it?
No, I would never do that.
I
no.
did that once, but behind Catherine's back, so it did it for me. She pissed me off about something, but she caught me in the mirror. She goes, I saw that. Sorry, and I felt so embarrassed.
Did you?
And I'm like, look at me. I'm a guy in my 30s doing this,
Yeah, yeah.
and she's seen me in the mirror, and I'm like, what's my face now? You know?
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, she said that to me last night, actually. She's like, do you have any gigs this week? And I was like, I think maybe just of the one. And she went, what's that? She goes, you've just been here a lot. You've been here a lot. I'd rather you be out gigging.
Is that what
Like,
she said to you?
yeah. She's like, I have my shows to watch. I'm like, The Real Housewives, you don't like that?
I love the housewives.
You haven't got into that yet, you see?
Oh, you love them, man. They're toxic, evil bitches, man.
See, but I would get too into it because this is one now that I don't want to get into, but Catherine is, like, I used to be into this, then I don't want to be into it. Now I'm sort of having to watch it a bit while we waited on the Traders coming on. That was what our big show we watched together was the Traders. She started watching Love Island All Stars, and to me, that is the worst television show in the world.
Yeah. Love Island.
You know what I'd like to see? A gay one.
What would we call it? Just Love Island.
Just Sex World. Just loads of gay guys because you just be having sex all the time. Because
Yeah.
guys are dirty bastards, aren't they? All fellas just.
Well,
I'd love
I
to see
heard
the
there's a
dynamic
guy
there.
I know. He's Stag. He was a stag. He was taken to Amsterdam, and
Hold on, let me just get my notepad out to get a few notes here.
they brought him into this thing, but they brought him to a gay sex show, and they made him on his own watch two men have sex for 20 minutes.
Would that be something that would interest you in your
No,
stag?
they just said to him like, watching sex show. He was like, oh, brilliant! It was two men. You have to watch it.
Can I tell you something I did? In Amsterdam was one of my favourite moments in life. Do you ever just get an idea in your head and you're like, I'm going to do this no matter what? So there was a peep show on in the red light district. And I'd never been to a peep show before. I didn't know how
Neither
it worked.
have I.
So what it was effectively, it's this bed, where there's the woman on the bed just doing stuff. And there's like peepholes the whole way around. And you can look, and like the peep looks up and you can look down. So I said to myself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stare out one of my mates for the entire duration of the peep show. So we went into the peep show, and the thing lowered, I was just staring right across it. And he was sort of like, at the start, kind of looking at her, but then you could see him catching eyes with me, and the whole time he's just, and he left her. He's like, fuck this, because I was just staring right at him, and I ruined this whole peep show. But those kind of things are really, they're hard going. Like,
Yeah.
you feel sad for people. Because do you ever watch somebody unenthusiastically fingering themselves? It's just not a nice thing. You know, it's like this. It's just like this. You're like, it's, you know, it doesn't look sexual, and it's like, oh, it's not a nice time. You know, it's not fun.
That's disgusting.
It's like just watching a guy having a wank with no interest. You know, you'd be like, oh,
Are they like that?
yeah, they just, and then we watched a sex show, and it was just the guy. He came on the stage. He was like this. He just lay down, sweet right, and a woman just came in and was like, there was no like enjoyment. There was no theatrics. It wasn't like watching porn. You know, it was just.
It was real sex.
It was just, I didn't like it. I was like, this is not for us. This is not a good time. And again, during that, the same guy that was in the peep show, I was patting him on the leg and all going, isn't this great? And he was like, don't touch me. And I'm like, you love this, is class and all. And he was going, and he's like, you made this most uncomfortable experience of my life. And I said, and that was fun for me. You know, that was the enjoyment I got out of the Amsterdam experience. But
my stag will be a lot more tamer.
But now I've got the idea of forcing you to watch a gay sex show. I'm into that now.
Yeah.
Now, but obviously we will not pay for it. But if we could get a couple of lads from the Stag to do it, that'd be something to watch. Like Willie T and your brother. And I'd be like, no, it's for the banter. Don't worry, it's not gay. It's just for the crack. Yeah.
No, that'd be fun.
Yeah, but no, I think now that I'm happy enough. I've seen all I need to see it. I don't fancy it anymore.
No.
You know, it's not for me.
No, I think my stag now, because you're going to be a part of the organising committee, so got a nice hotel in Cork with a pool and a gym.
Nice
city centre hotel. I think it's going to work out 2 people in a room. It's £120 each a night. And then we'll meet on the first evening for dinner, out for a few drinks, and then everyone meets the following day at like 3 o'clock so you can have a lie-in and stuff.
3 o'clock is too late for day 2. You want to be meeting at the very latest midday. You get a wee lie in, go for a walk, whatever, clear your head, meet again, bite a lunch. Maybe if someone wants a pint, good. If they don't, whatever. You know, you will, of course, because you're the pint man, Ryan. So there'll be no way you'll struggle for day 2. But 3 o'clock, you don't get.
What are you thinking already?
I'm thinking it's going to be a good time. I think that's the key. When you're involved in any stag organisation, your role is not necessarily the activities. It's a hype man. You need to get people ready. You need to get people ready for a good time. You need to show them what a good time is. If people are being misery guts, you need to lift them. That's the role. That's what I've experienced and I've learned. You can be anywhere as long as the atmosphere is good. You'll have a good time. And it's hard to beat a pub too. It's hard to beat like
a good old
guys
pub.
in the pub having the crack, just the pints coming, silly stories, good times. It's hard to beat.
Yeah, a nice little corner, log fire.
Yeah.
Bit of music in the background.
And then a gay sex show just to finish it all off, just on top of the table, clear the pints away. Let's go.
That'll be me.
Boys. Oh,
No,
that'll be us.
sorry.
A lot of fun.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good group.
Yeah, it should be. And already the group's up and running. There's a bit of chat going.
Yeah.
It's looking good.
Yeah, I'll be leaving the group tonight.
I think I might take you out. I might just give me that little bit of power.
No,
Just
I
to
have to
take
add,
you
I have
out.
to add 2 more tonight.
Oh, anyone we know?
No, Cork people.
Would you like there to be any special guests? If we had a wild card to bring a couple of random people, would you like that, or would that scare you?
That would scare me, but I can only see. I don't want to invite people who are not going to be able to be at the wedding. We're very strict on numbers, so I've had to I'll be honest with you, there's quite a lot of my family not coming. If you know what I mean, like uncles and aunts and stuff. So I've made quite big decisions.
But I'm sure they'll forgive you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't like them anyway, but
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's all good.
so, but like there is. No, I do like them, but
It's hard. It is hard. That is one of the hardest things in the world is a wedding list. It's so hard.
Yeah, I feel a bit guilty, like.
Yeah, you do. It's natural. But then once it's done, you're like, the way I always said is like, listen, this wedding's not for you. You can come to my next one. You're invited. That's
Yeah,
the
we'll
one
see
to do.
though. We'll see. But like, have you guys got any ideas about what you're going to do in the stag?
Yeah, we have a bit. A
Like
few
what?
ideas. I'm not going to tell you. To me,
But it
this
can't
is
be. I'm just telling you now.
Uh-huh.
Nothing seedy. I don't want a woman involved or anything like that because no.
What about if we just meet in the middle? And there's somebody that doesn't identify as either man or a woman.
No, none of that. I'm not having any sexual stuff.
It doesn't have to be sexual. It just can come for the pints.
It's literally just pints.
Yeah. What if we were like, we've just brought someone who identifies as transgender just for a beer? Would that be fine?
Yeah.
What about people who are below average height?
No. No.
No. Well, no. It'll be a good time. I already think I have done quite a good job for you on your wedding day anyway, because I don't know if people know this, but I did a photo shoot at the venue for you. I think if you got some ideas from seeing that photo shoot of where you might get a few photos.
Yeah. Well, me and Julie are getting the photographs done at midday before the ceremony.
Before?
Yeah, we've done it all before.
That's quite mad.
Yeah.
'Cause you might like each other. You might know after the photo shoot, you might be like, oh, fuck it, I'm not doing it.
No, because just after the wedding, then we can just hang out with the other guests. All 6
Can
of
I
them.
give you one bit of advice that I give to anybody
What?
who's getting married? And so I can't remember who gave me this advice, but it was something that really resonated with me, and I haven't done it. I appreciated it. It was once you get married, once you do the whole ceremony, take 5 to 10 minutes away with your wife or husband in a room, just have a wee drink with them, just the two of you. Because the rest of the day, you barely see each other. Because you're going around, you're chatting to family, you're having the crack. Obviously, you have the dance and all, but you don't really get time to just sit and go, look at us. There we are. We did it.
Yeah.
We did that when we got married. We went into a room. I had a pint. She had a Prosecco. And we were just like, it's good, isn't it? And it was a nice 5-10 minutes just away from everything where you could just have a chat. Because the rest of the time, you're pulled from pillar to post. And then I remember my wedding. I didn't feel like I was getting drunk, tipsy or anything until I was like, can I have half an hour with the guys? She went, yeah. So I went outside with a load of my mates and we were just shots and pints.
What, before?
After. This is like before the dancing and everything. So before the dinner, just went out the back and we just did it was a great time. Great time.
Oh,
But I loved it.
I
love being
might
married.
do all that.
Yeah, I think it's
I'm
good.
looking for
Smart
someone
move.
on the day to kind of help me do a few things, like a fixer.
Mm-hmm.
So my brothers are going to do stuff like that.
What about a person below average height?
No, Dave, no.
No, it's okay. But now I will say what I do like to do. I like to play with emotions for a stag. So I like to be like, well, what about this? And then the people are like, oh, it'll be all right.
Don't worry, he'll be here in a minute.
There'll be nothing to worry about.
I
And
think a nice hotel, a couple of nice restaurants, a few nice bars.
I think the safer thing for you to do is not try to organise your own stag, because it's in my nature to go, well, I will do the opposite. So I know that's what you want to do. We'll do that, but too much is too much.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll see.
We'll get a few guests, but anyway, things to do, people to see. Let's get this wrapped. I have a few questions for you
Yeah.
to answer, if you may.
Go on.
Just need to load them up here for the patrons. Big shout out to the patrons putting the questions in.
Put the questions.
Usually we used to do this on the Patreon only as a guest, or as a Patreon podcast. But now we're just doing it here. We're just doing it for you guys on the main podcast to draw some people in. But see, before we start, the last segment that we do now in the podcast, we didn't do this now because this is the second effort we've made it recording this podcast, because last week we had a bloody power issue and everything just cut. Load of shit. So is there anything you want to be sly about, anything that winds you up? People cutting you off, did you say, or what was it? Did you want to have a rant about?
Oh, people are just playing the victim all the time. Start to come across those people who are victims, you know, these professional victims.
What do you mean? Like actual victims, or?
No, just people are like, full-time fucking moaners.
Yeah. There's a lot of them about it.
It's tough going out there, guys, for everybody. Come on.
Positive mental attitude. That's
none of that shit either, but just stop whinging. Like, fucking,
what do you think of life coaches? Do you think they're a spoof?
I think a lot of them, life coaches, I think with life coaches, there's probably some benefit with them. It's the other kind of coaching as well, that I can make you rich people. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that are dangerous.
Trading 212, investing.
Fucking scum. Mm-hmm. Scumbags.
People fall for that shit all the time, don't they?
Yeah, vulnerable people do. Yeah. Needy people who are in a bad place, they need easy fixes, and they're being told stuff. They're just being told stuff they want to hear, and they buy into it. It's all nonsense, man.
And do you think there's elements of that are just people being actual fraudsters?
Yeah.
I hate all that kind of shit too. See, taking advantage of people. Now, you might have beef with this. This is the first time I've seen this. Sean says, does Andrew have a crack allergy? What's Andrew? What are you trying to say there, Sean?
Am I allergic to having fun?
I don't think so. I think you love a good time.
I love a good time.
Especially with people below an average height. Oh, Aaron's got a good question for you. I feel like Aaron's drawn on a lot of your interests here. Previously, I'd asked for wedding inspiration, but now that the Martin Lewis of comedy is available, hit me up with some money-saving wedding tips. That's a good question.
Money-saving wedding tips. Right. No bridesmaids, no groomsmen, no wedding cake. Reason being, don't go out and spend any money on a wedding cake. No one gives a fuck. Buy a cake in Marks and Spencer's. Right. Number 2, spending all this money on your friends to all look the same as a bride. Why? Get them to wear their own clothes. Get rid of all that stress. Save yourself another grand or two, blah, blah, blah. Thirdly, when you're doing your wedding, save the dates, your wedding invites, your table plan, all that. Go to one supplier, Julie Catron Studio. She does all that. She can do all that for you, and you can do that at a cut price for all, and she does bespoke all budgets. Also, as well as, no one gives a shit whether you have a photo booth, whether you have a gin bar, whether you have a bag of sweets and stuff like that. No one cares. All people want at a wedding is crack, food, and a bit of dancing. Right?
So belly dancing?
No, dancing.
All right, I said belly dancing.
Right? Don't be worried about anybody else. Cut back on what you don't need. The night before, like, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to buy this for the night before. You don't need it. Like, there's so much stuff you can save. Mm-hmm. Also, as well as, see if your photographer likes Johnny Cash.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So so avoid the tax bill. Avoid tax man. But no, what I will say, I was at a wedding during the summer, and I see the value in bridesmaids more so than in groomsmen per se. I think like a best man, of course, is useful, but I was at a wedding during the summer, hot summer, and I've never seen a bridesmaid work more. Like, she was carrying the train, she was fixing the veil, she was really making sure the bride was looking as best she could, doing all, helping her out. Now, there's another 2 bridesmaids, didn't lift a finger, lazy bitches. But this one bridesmaid, I was like, and she wasn't even the chief bridesmaid, and I thought that's
you
impressive.
Nominate somebody to do that.
Yeah.
So, like, Julie has her friends, and she'll nominate one of her friends to do all that. But that friend will wear her own clothes.
But I mean, like, still smart.
Of course.
Like, she's not going to turn up with him.
Yeah, like, I've no best man or anything, but what I do is my brother's doing the speech.
Nice.
But I'm going to have my brothers and stuff like standing next to me. But, like, they are part of the groom's party, but I'm, like, not giving them a title, like.
So, but the main one, I think what you pointed out there is, see the things that have become part of weddings, like the photo booths and the silly, that's all
get rid of all
stupidity.
that. You don't need it.
You'll have your memories.
I've never woken up the day after of a wedding and gone, geez, that wedding cake was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, did you see that way the table was set up? Oh, Jesus, did you see that photo booth was amazing? No, I've woken up going, geez, that was some crack yesterday, wasn't it? When the music was great, wasn't it? Do you know what? That dinner was lovely. Like,
yeah.
That's what people are interested in.
This is one that we like for the ego. Dean said, well, boys, the 2 best. Thank you, Dean. We're missing our weekly dose of Andrew putting the world to rights in Cork and the North here. But what are your thoughts on this Bonnie Blue carry-on? I think we've covered that.
I think the girl can do whatever the hell she wants, but I also, hope she's okay.
No, Dean likes to add a couple of questions, so this is a good one. He said, a gaggle of silly girls came into the sauna and steam room the other week in their bikinis, walking in and out, leaving the doors open. I think everybody was looking at them, thinking everyone was looking at them. It was like the start of a bad porno, but I was looking at them because they were opening and closing the door. What do you think on that? It's bad etiquette, isn't it, if you're in the sauna to try and let the heat out?
They're probably young.
Did you say they would learn? Because you were talking about consequences and lessons. What lesson would you give to the girls?
I probably wouldn't confront them or say anything to them because of the space that you're in and the lack of clothing you're all wearing. I think what I would do is I'd go, oh, these people are annoying everyone else. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove myself from the situation. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. So I'm going to go and sit in the steam room or a jacuzzi or go into the pool or just say, today just didn't work out for me.
And would you close the door behind you?
Maybe leave it open just to piss them off.
I don't know what I'd do in that scenario. I might try to drown one as an example.
Jesus, Dave.
You know?
You can't drown someone.
No. Paul says, boys, what's with the recent trend of social media wanks that wander around Belfast doing social rejection shite, or marching up to people, asking questions about what makes them happy in life or one piece of advice in the world, etc. Maybe I'm getting old, but I'm sick of these teenagers screaming into phones about ice baths and making your life better. Come back to me. What do you think?
Somebody stopped me. I ignored. I said, no, I'm too busy. And I think they were doing like, what's your job and what do you earn? I was like, oh no, I'm busy, man.
I don't like that question. What do you earn?
No, your fucking business.
Yeah, mind your own business.
Minus $6,000 a year.
And what would you? I think what could you say to silence somebody? What's your job? Paramilitary. How much you get paid?
Do you know what I'd say? I'd say like head masturbator for the Catholic Church.
I'm a headmaster. Bader.
I'm a headmaster. Bader.
I mean, I'd be interested in how much they earn. Depends how hard I masturbate. Stephen says, does Andrew have any plans for another podcast in the future? I was a big fan of Cork in the North.
No.
There you go. That's a concise answer. And the last question, I mean, Connor, I'm sorry to say it. Connor's a guy who knows too much. He can almost see what is in our mind before he asks a question. And I feel bad because every time I'm like, I can't answer Connor's question because we've already answered it. He was asking, how's the Stag plan going? And it's going well. And all I'm going to say, Connor, if you know how we think and you know what's going on and you know anybody below an average height, get in touch.
No.
Andrew, this has been a pleasure. I'm glad that the power cut out in the camera last time, because this has been much more fun. This has been a fun time. Apart from the first 5 minutes, we're talking about concentration camps.
I'm fucking exhausted today.
Yeah, but you know what? What can you do now? You've had a great day. You've done fun podcast. You can go home. You can relax. You can have a nap. You can have a cat nap. You and Finbar. Would Finbar nap with you? Would he?
Finbar Ryan the third?
Yes.
No, Finbar Ryan the first.
The first?
No,
you're already planning. That's future planning like that.
Yeah, he does nap with me, no. He kind of just does his own thing. He's independent. He's like Cork.
Yeah.
He's independent. Should be independent anyway.
And last but not least, you're in the final leg of your tour.
Final leg of the tour. London, Guildford, Brighton, Liverpool, Leeds, Glasgow, Aberdeen.
Where are you doing in Glasgow?
Stand again.
Nice time.
Doing it again.
A lot of fun.
So yeah, if you know anyone over, and Strabane on the 2nd of March is Sunday night. It's the last show of the tour, and there's about 30 tickets left.
There we are, Andrew Ryan. As always, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon.
I'm the Sly Guy.